Welcome to For the Record. I'm Andrew Stocky. A house is the single most important purchase you'll ever make. Recent numbers showing the cost of buying that home nationwide now reaching an all-time high. The median sale price is more than $426,000. But what's the real estate picture here in Pittsburgh? We start our look inside the region's real estate market by speaking with David Onifer, president of the Realtors Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh. Tell me about your organization. What exactly is the Realtors Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh?
So the Realtors Association of Metropolitan Pittsburgh represents the body of realtors within the greater Pittsburgh region. So we represent about 3,500 members. It's a member-driven organization, and we really, a lot of what we do is represent the realtors and the real estate industry. We do a lot of lobbying on behalf of the consumer. That's one of our biggest priorities, is making sure the consumer is protected throughout the process.
Okay. Let's get the 30,000-foot overview of the real estate market here
Sure.
in Pittsburgh. I mean, right now, is this a great place to buy a home? Is it a good place to buy a home? Is it a difficult place to buy a home?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag, and what I mean by that is we are still in a very much of a seller's market. However, compared to a lot of the metropolitan areas around the country, prices are still affordable. We're at about, the numbers came out recently, we're at about $259,900 is about the median price point for a single family home in the greater Pittsburgh area, compared to some other places that, that seems like a bargain. So we've had a lot of investment from places like New York, California, where they're selling their homes for a lot of money and moving here. And also, obviously that's been driven by, the tech industry, the medical industry, the education industry here in Pittsburgh. So people are finding a real value here. That said, we still have a bit of a, even though listings are up, we're still have a shortage of housing here, and that's really driving the pricing model here and across the United States.
I was going to ask you about that. Inventory is low here. Why is it low? I mean, I'm assuming building is still going on in the area, and there's still new homes being built every day.
Well, they're being built, but not to the point where they need to be. And I think, quite frankly, how we feel that with the low rates that people got locked into in the 2021 years, they don't necessarily want to walk away from that and get into a 7% mortgage at this point in time. But at some level, people still have to move. So we do see some movement in the market, and when homes do come on, they're moving fairly quickly.
What about interest rates? I mean, how's that impacted the real estate market here?
Sure. Well, I think initially when the rates spiked a couple of years ago, that really slowed the industry down tremendously, and it took a while to rebound. But again, things happen. People need to move for different various reasons, and I think people have gotten used to the fact that the mortgage rates are in the 6 to 7% range, which is historically not the most terrible rates, but they're not. Walking away from a 2%, that's a whole different story. So I think that kind of put a hold on the market as well.
I don't want you to be an economist, but the Fed keeps talking about lowering interest rates. I mean, are you forecasting? Do you think that may happen in the coming months, and that might change the equation here?
Well, I think our last conversation early in the year, we were hoping for a rate decrease. Then, obviously, that didn't really happen, and I'd love to have a crystal ball and say we're going to have one soon, but who knows? But it does seem like the economic data is coming in that inflation is starting to cool a little bit. So hopefully, maybe by the end of the year, beginning of next year, we might see a little bit of a rate drop.
You talked about low inventory. There's also that factor of companies coming in and buying homes as well. How has that changed the equation for buyers? I mean, because they're competing not just against other buyers, but now companies coming in and buying homes and taking and shrinking the inventory.
Sure. We hear a lot about it. I've never seen it in person myself. Obviously, if you have somebody coming in paying cash, waiving all inspections, that's gonna make it harder for a family or a single person or whoever that may be that's getting a mortgage and trying to purchase the home. It's going to give them that's going to be another barrier to entry into the market when you're competing with somebody that has a very easy transaction in front of them.
Let's talk about now something that's going to be happening in August. It's going to really change things. No longer will, I guess, commissions, buyers be required to pay agent commissions in a sale. Is that, am I reading, is that correct?
No, it's a little bit of a misconception out there. So basically what's happening, it's going to be a change of practice nationwide. There will be, starting in August, buyers will be required to sign an agreement with an agent to tour any home. Now, buyer agency in Pennsylvania is nothing new. It started back in 1999, and it basically, it makes the process a little bit more transparent for the consumer. And again, I think other places across the nation weren't necessarily, doing buyer agency, so we really were kind of a little ahead of the game. Now, when it comes to paying commissions have always been negotiable. There's no set fee. I mean, it could be a percentage, it could be a flat fee, it could be a sliding scale, and it's always been negotiable between the client and the broker. One of the things that will happen in August, sellers will still be able to offer compensation to the buyer's broker. However, we will not be allowed to advertise it on the MLSs. So there will be we're going to find other ways to get that message out to the cooperating brokers, and that way they can still offer that compensation and stay in the buyer pool.
Okay. So how will that change things for the buyer seller?
Well, so I think there will be a point that potentially some sellers may not offer a compensation to a buyer's broker. So at that point, it will be between the buyer and their broker to come up with their own compensation schedule.
Finally, if you can look in your crystal ball, look ahead to 2025, and what will Pittsburgh be like? Will it still be that affordable place, at least relatively, for people coming in the market and maybe for first-time home buyers?
I think that's true. I think that Pittsburgh's always kind of been a steady. If you look at the numbers, have always been like a little bit of a steady incline. Never really spiked like some of the other metropolitan areas. So our feeling is that Pittsburgh's a great place to be. It's still relatively affordable, and I think it'll stay that way for the time being.
Still ahead on For the Record.
The biggest number one denial rate is credit.
Why some Pittsburgh families are finding buying a home especially challenging.